the chipped porcelain doll sat on the dusty shelf, his painted eyes staring blankly ahead. We found it in the attic of my grandmother's old house, tucked away in a forgotten box. Its dress was faded, its once bright pink, now a muted, unsettling beige. My daughter, Lily, was immediately drawn to it. "Can I keep her, Mommy?" she asked, her small hands already reaching for the doll. I hesitated. There was something about the doll that made my skin crawl, a subtle wrongness I couldn't quite place. But Lily's eyes were so wide and pleading, and I didn't want to deny her a simple joy. "Okay," I said, forcing a smile. "But you have to be careful with her." Lily named the doll Annabelle, a name that sent a faint shiver down my spine for reasons I couldn't explain. From that day on, Annabelle was always with Lily. She sat at the tea parties, rode in the toy stroller, and slept beside Lily in her bed. It started subtly, small things. I would swear I saw Annabelle's head turn slightly when no one was looking. Toys would move across Lily's room overnight. At first, I dismissed it as my imagination, the product of a tired mind. But then, Lily started talking about Annabelle as if she were alive. "Annabelle doesn't like broccoli," she said, or "Annabelle wants to watch cartoons." One evening, I was putting Lily to bed. Annabelle was propped up against the pillows beside her. As I leaned in to kiss Lily goodnight, I could have sworn Annabelle's eyes flickered towards me, a brief, almost imperceptible movement. I shook my head, telling myself I was being ridiculous. It was just a doll. But the incident escalated. We started finding small scratches on the furniture, marks that looked like they had been made by tiny claws. One morning, Lily woke up with 3 thin red lines on her cheek. She insisted Annabelle had done it. My unease turned into a knot of fear in my stomach. I tried to get rid of the doll. I placed it in a box in the garage, hoping Lily would forget about it. The next morning, Annabelle was back in Lily's bed, sitting upright as if she had never been moved. The garage door, which I distinctly remember locking, was slightly ajar. My fear morphed into genuine terror. I started having nightmares, vivid and disturbing, where the doll's painted smile twisted into a malevolent grin and its blank eyes filled with a chilling intelligence. I would wake up in a cold sweat, the feeling of being watched lingering in the air. One afternoon, I was working in the kitchen when I heard a blood-curdling scream from Lily's room. I ran upstairs to find Lily huddled in the corner, her eyes wide with terror, pointing at Annabelle. The doll was no longer sitting on the bed. It was standing on its own, its porcelain face turned directly towards Lily, and one of its painted eyes seemed different, darker. I snatched the doll and threw it into the closet, slamming the door shut. But even through the thick wood, I could hear a faint rhythmic tapping. Tap, tap, tap. It sounded like tiny knuckles rapping against the inside of the door. That night, the tapping continued, growing louder, more insistent. It echoed through the house, a relentless, maddening rhythm. I couldn't sleep. Every creak of the floorboards, every rustle of leaves outside the window sounded like Annabelle was getting closer. Around 3 a.m., I heard Lily scream again. I rushed to her room to find her thrashing in bed, her voice hoarse with fear. "She's here, Mommy! Annabelle's here!" I turned on the light, and there, sitting on the rocking chair in the corner of the room, was the doll. Its head was tilted at an unnatural angle, and its eyes, they weren't blank anymore. They seemed to gleam with a knowing, evil light. As I reached for the doll, a cold gust of wind swept through the room, extinguishing the bedside lamp. I felt a sharp pain in my ankle, like something had scratched me. I cried out and stumbled backward, tripping over a toy on the floor. I scrambled to my feet, fumbling for my phone to use as a flashlight. The faint glow illuminated the room, and I saw it. Annabelle was no longer on the rocking chair. It was crawling slowly, deliberately, across the floor towards Lily's bed. Its porcelain limbs moved with a jerky, unnatural motion, and its painted smile seemed wider than before, a grotesque parody of happiness. I lunged forward, grabbing the doll just as it reached the side of Lily's bed. Its porcelain felt ice cold in my hands. Suddenly, its head snapped towards me, and I saw it then, truly saw it. The darkness in its eyes wasn't paint. It was something else, something ancient and malevolent, staring back at me. A raspy whisper, like dry leaves, skittering across pavement, seemed to fill the room, though I couldn't tell if it came from the doll or from somewhere else. "You can't get rid of me." Terror such as I had never known seized me. I ran out of the room, the doll clutched tightly in my hand, Lily screaming behind me. I didn't stop running until I was out of the house, the cold night air stinging my lungs. We never went back to that house. We left everything behind, including Annabelle, locked away in Lily's room. But sometimes, late at night, I still hear that faint tapping in my dreams, and I see those dark, knowing eyes staring at me from the shadows. I know with a chilling certainty that Annabelle is still out there waiting, and I can't shake the feeling that one day she will find us again.